Let us help you reach your peak in retirement. It's time for Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the podcast, Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee. I am your host today, Sean Lee. I'm running solo. Mark Gillian, our co-host, is not with me today. And this is just kind of a spur-of-the-moment podcast that's not regularly scheduled. And I wanted to get out a couple of my thoughts and viewpoints on some of the things that have been going on, not just from a business perspective, from a market perspective, and get that out to everybody. So next time Mark will be with me, but today you just get me. And today really what I wanted to talk about is something that I've talked about with our team, various advisors throughout the country, and the advisors that work here in our office. And this idea came to me really a couple years ago when I was reading a post from Michael Kitces, who's another financial advisor. And so a lot of his stuff I agree with. And he made the comment that people will, and individuals eventually will not just look for the advisor that's closest to them, but they will look for the advisor that's best for their situation. And I've really thought about that over the last couple of years. And I still, to this day, truly believe that. I truly believe that if you're out there and you're looking for an advisor at this point in time, you'll be looking for the advisor that is right for your situation, or you should be looking for the advisor that's right for your situation, not the advisor that is closest to you geographically, or not the advisor that just happened to send you a dinner seminar invite, or you heard them on the radio. Now, you'll proactively look for an advisor that is right for your unique situation. And I use a lot of baseball analogies, and I'll use one here. When a manager goes out and he's building a roster and he's working with the general manager, and he says, we've got 25 roster spots. We've got 25 roster spots. 12 of those need to be infielders or fielders, maybe 13 to cover the infield, outfield, catcher's position, have some backups and defensive replacements, things like that. And then they'll have 12 to 13 pitchers, 5 starters, 7 relievers, whatever it may be. And so when they're constructing this roster, they're not just looking at, hey, we went to the ball field right down the street and saw a bunch of guys playing, and we like, that guy, he was a pitcher. We went to the other ball field right down the street, and we like, that guy, he was a catcher. A general manager and a manager of a baseball team aren't finding the people that are closest to them geographically. They're going out and they're doing research, and they're doing a lot of analysis and a lot of research, and they're finding players all over the country, all over the world, and they're finding the best players for their unique situations based on their teams. Hey, maybe we're a little light on the starting pitching, so we need to go out and we need to sign somebody, or we need to draft somebody, or we need to bring somebody in via trade. And maybe they're on a different team, or they're down in the Caribbean, or they're overseas in Asia, or whatever it may be, but they're actively going out and they're looking for the right player for their situation. Now, how does that come back to planning? Sean, how do we find the right advisor? How do we find the right advisor for our situation as we're going through our lives? And as our life changes, how do we transition to the right advisor that's focused on what we need and can help us confidently navigate through those retirement years? And so as I thought about that, and here's the thing with this COVID and quarantine situation, it's forced us all to think a little bit differently. It's forced us all to think beyond our borders, beyond our geographic region. It's forced us to think bigger. And what I mean by that is, our team, we have a message. And if you're listening to the podcast, or you're a client of our firms, our message is all about planning and holistic planning and focusing on the 5 areas of planning. That's our message. That's what we do. And that's who we are. We haven't changed who we are just because we've been quarantined. What we've been able to do is focus more deeply on who we are. And as you're out there and as you're looking for, that right advisor for your unique situation, think about a couple of things. One, think about your phase of life. What phase am I in? Am I starting to save? Am I starting to transition? We'll call innings 1 through 3 of life. And The rules and how the game is played are a little bit different. Am I getting closer and closer to retirement? And I need to really start thinking about that. We'll call it innings 4 through 6 of life. You gotta make some adjustments to your game plan. You've got to you're probably going through the lineup the second time. You got to adjust how you're pitching to those people. And, there's right advisors for that phase of life. And then we'll call it innings 7 through 9, where the rules of the game change. The rules stay the same, but how you focus and how you look at the game in the innings 7, 8, and 9 are much different than how you look at innings 1 through 6. So find a right advisor that's going to help you get into retirement and transition and do the things that you need to do. So find somebody, I don't want to use the word specialist, but find somebody who focuses on your phase of life. And then as you go through this, really focus on, okay, how do I find that right advisor? Well, I know that I need somebody who focuses on where I am at currently. And then the next step is, well, if I'm looking for an advisor, what is important to me in that advisor? Do I need them to have credentials? Masters in financial planning, CFP, CHFC, RICP, all that alphabet soup behind their name. Is that important? Do I need to have somebody that has all that behind their name? Do I need to have somebody who has a support team? Do I need to have, where if I can't get a hold of Mr. or Mrs. Advisor, I can call a person immediately and get my questions answered and taken care of? What sort of planning do those people do? Is it full-blown holistic planning? If you know us, we focus on the 5 areas of planning, and we're very upfront about that. We focus on income, investments, tax, healthcare, and estate planning. Now, we're not attorneys, but that's an important aspect of planning, so we pass that off to an attorney that we trust. So you're looking at licensing, you're looking at how do they plan? Do some due diligence on the background of the advisor. Is it important for you to know if they've got disclosures or, nicks on their record, whatever it may be? But what I truly believe is that as we're going through this COVID situation, this quarantine situation, it's opening up the doors for you as a listener to the podcast to find the advisor that is right for your situation. The old way of thinking is, well, I have to find somebody who's close so I can drive to. And if that's you, that's okay. That's 100% okay. Still do your research. Still go through it and research the advisors that are in your area. But what if face-to-face isn't necessarily important? I mean, think about technology right now. We were forced, like March 13th here in Utah, immediately to go into like a quarantine. They shut down. We're considered an essential business, but our office staff went virtual for 2 months. So we had to pivot as a company. And a lot of the clients that we work with, that if you're listening to this, we went straight virtual, and technology is beautiful. Yeah, you miss the face-to-face interaction and the hugs and the handshakes and things like that. But I don't know if that sort of thing is going to come back for a long time. But with technology, what you can do is you can virtually see people. We've used Zoom in the last 2.5 months. It's a great tool. We can face-to-face interact. I can share my screen. I have a whiteboard on our computer. So anything that happened in office was able to happen virtually. Same experience, same deliverable, same everything. The only difference is that you were looking through a screen. So what does that do? That opens up the doors. That opens up the doors based on technology to find that right person, find that right advisor for your situation. Now, if it's our firm, we love the opportunity to sit down and go through our virtual process, and when the time is right, meet face to face. But the world hasn't stopped spinning. The markets didn't close. Planning still needs to happen. And I think it's more important now in today's environment to have a clearly defined plan. There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of concern, but there doesn't have to be. There doesn't have to be all of that concern. There doesn't have to be all of that angst. Because once we gain clarity and once we gain a map and a plan that we can run on, a lot of that emotion kind of goes away. So those were my thoughts for today. Like I said, it's Sean Lee all by himself, managing partner here at Elevated Retirement Group. If this podcast is valuable, please share it. It's on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, whatever, all of the podcast spots, Retirement Elevated Podcast. You can go to retirementelevatedpodcast.com. And if you have questions, feel free to just pick up the phone, give our offices a call at 801-639-0095. We'd love to have a conversation. Until next time, hopefully Mark Killian's back with me. Have a great day.
Investment advisory services offered through Elevated Capital Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered